Okay, so this will be feedback slash critique for mattress. I'll let it get to the actual round and then pause. Okay. I don't think I've given you feedback before. At least I don't know if I have. Let's do the quick intros away, right? You might know me. Oh, in the fucking collegiate, I'm honest mids Paul. I'm honest mids Paul, because Paul's mids are honest. No, I go by Shazam on a lot of the Discords because he's my favorite superhero. Let's get this right out of the way. I am by no means a Tekken professional, right? I'm just someone who's played a lot of Tekken, watched a lot of Tekken, and just talked a lot of Tekken, right? From my experiences of playing Paul, playing Feng, fighting Paul, fighting Feng, watching Paul, watching Feng, etc., 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 I am reaching some conclusions and relaying them to you and simply saying, hey, based on my experiences and based on my knowledge, I think this or that, or you should try this or that, right? It is by no means gospel, right? It is not a sound like, if you just do this, you will immediately win, right? But I'm just trying to point out some issues I see with the gameplay or whatever else and just be like, hey, try these options, do this, do that, and try to offer some food for thought. That's it, right? At the end of the day, my goal is to hopefully offer some different perspectives and give you some direction or give you some ideas here, right? And if it helps in any way, shape, or form, I'm happy, right? I try to be as open to feedback as I can. So if anything in the video that you see is like, hey, this made absolutely no fucking sense, or I don't understand this point that you're making, just at me in the Discords. I'm always willing to, I love Tekken, right? I'm always willing to talk some Tekken, right? So with that being said, let's go into the gameplay and talk about like where are some areas of improvement, what are you doing well, what are you doing wrong, etc., etc., etc. I'll usually do a breakdown at the end and talk about, you know, neutral, punishment slash matchup knowledge, combo slash Oki, and then personal opinion and stuff, which we'll go into. Does this work? There we go. Okay. Frame data. Let's pull this up. Okay. Oh, you know what? This really sucks. Oh wait, no, I can rewind, right? Oh, this is so interesting. I've actually never used this replayer before. Everybody's just posting their matches on YouTube or some shit. Okay, so right here, right? Let's analyze this situation. You have me back to the wall. I'm terrified of my fucking life because it's Feng, right? And I'm already second guessing my offense, right? I'm very afraid of approaching you. Here, why just let me breathe, right? I feel like I should be suffocating under your pressure here, right? I should be constantly afraid of core circle forward 1, core circle back 1+2, or core circle forward 1+2, and down back 3, right? So you get a lot of hits in, you got your pokes in, doing pretty well. I'm already flash ducking because I'm just terrified of down back 3. I'm not used to your timings yet. And you're already in my head, right? So right here, when my back is to the wall, my options are very limited, right? Like I can't backdash anything. I can still sidestep left, which is of course the meme about Feng that you just sidestep left against him and he just falls apart, which is kind of true if you have bad timing. So right here, why immediately go for Kenpo? I mean, it's not the worst thing, right? You can argue that like, oh, I'm doing Kenpo because if you try to like lash out and throw out moves to get out of the wall, you got me. But have I, in the last like 10 seconds, have I shown anything that makes you think, oh, this guy likes to throw out buttons at the wall under pressure, right? I mean, I say that and I just threw back-to-back core circle back 4. But what am I really mashing buttons here, right? What type of player do you think I am based on the information you're working with right now, right? I'll tell you straight up, I'm a very passive player. I'm just very I is, you know, some would argue patient. I think I'm just too passive. I'm very reactive. I'm not proactive, which is an issue, but we'll talk about that later. But like right here, right, why not? You see me just backing up. I'm not trying to disalign myself from the wall. I'm not doing anything to make my situation better. I'm just fucking terrified. And here is where you need to, you know, you need to smell the blood in the water. You need to see that my opponent is a deer in the headlights, and I need to start slamming pressure on them, right? So forward, if I'm not sidestepping, forward 3. If I'm not backdashing and I can't backdash, of course we'll go forward 1+2, right? Or doing down forward 1 into some frame trap situation like back 1, right? Moves that are a way better when my opponent's back is to the wall and they're not showing signs of countering, right? Forward 3, amazing, godlike move. Linear as shit. But if the opponent is not sidestepping, it might as well be a top 10 Tekken move, right? Right? If my opponent is not doing the counter to my moves, then I should be doing those moves, right? So when you have your opponent to the wall, based on the information you have up until this point in the round, right? Around 20 seconds have passed. So based on the information you've gained from me, what type of player do you think I am, and what am I weak to? Like, what can you do to maximize your advantage? All right. And sometimes it's going to be a mix-up. Sometimes it's just going to be pressure. Sometimes it will be movement. But what I'm trying to stress here is that you're facing someone who's very passive, very patient, and clearly scared. So that's when you get to go ham with your pressure tools that are typically more awkward if the opponent is ready to challenge you. And you see the result, right, of being too passive on your end when you should have been pressing your advantage. I start to feel confident, and I just go up and like, I'm just going to challenge you with my core circle back 4, right? Because that move has a lot of good coverage. And now my back is away from the wall, you don't have the advantage as much anymore, and the situation is just kind of falling apart. I don't respect your wake up and pay dearly for it. Oh god. Oh god. What am I doing? I tried to do core circle back 4. Maybe that was because it was late night. I don't know. Nice. Good. Abuse Kenpo. God, Kenpo's so good. That's fine. Oh yeah, Paul's really weak to that, huh? Okay, so I don't know. Yeah, so this is what I'm seeing a lot more in a lot of Fengs. Why are you doing this, like, whiffed hop kick thing? Is this, like, some new thing I'm not aware of? I haven't watched Feng in a while. I don't know if this is some new strategy or some shit. But, like, okay, so in all of these situations where you're doing whiffed hop kick, right? What exactly... Like, if I just did Death Fist there, was that really worth the trade? Like, right here, was the damage that you get from this really worth it? I don't know. I just feel like you should... If your goal is to bait a whiff or do something that's like... Isn't forward 4 mid? Oh, it's a high. Oh, whatever. But I feel like you can be doing more to bait a response from me, right? Like right here, you should just be backdashing, doing Kenpo, or doing forward 4 into back turn, into down back to get out of back turn, right? Doing a lot more like movement options that don't leave you so vulnerable and close to me. Part of it is a matchup thing. Maybe you don't realize like how good of a range Paul's back 1-2 has, right? But it's like, I don't know. Right? Of all the things you can be doing, is just whiffing a punishable unblocked move really your idea? Right? Like really what you want to be doing? I don't know. I've been seeing that a lot more. Like I gave a Feng player some feedback like right before this, and they also had like a similar thing of I'm just gonna whiff hop kick, and I don't know. I kind of disagree with that decision, but I don't know. That's fine. Unfortunate whiff. Okay, so like let's analyze the situation, right? So I have you knocked to the wall. I'm fearing for my fucking life, right? Why do you sidestep towards the wall? What's going on there, right? Ask yourself, right? Why are you realigning yourself with the wall against Paul of all characters, right? If anything, you should be doing sidestep right because one, that's Paul's weaker side, and two, it'll force me to either adjust, right, and also do sidestep right, or my Paul's sidestep right, your sidestep whatever. I'm gonna be stepping towards the oh, fuck I hate stepping language. When I say sidestep something, sidestep direction, I'm referring to the character in question, right? So your sidestep right. Oh no, yeah, I would be sidestepping left. Yeah. So if you go sidestep right, I have to recognize that and go, if he's going sidestep right and I choose to also sidestep right, I will fucking die because my back will be to the wall, right? Maybe not instantly, but I'm losing my advantage of positioning, right? So as a result, I will be forced to sidestep left and will be inching closer, right? Because 3D games, right? We're both sidestepping, but it's like we're going along the circular edge and we'll meet each other at some point, right? So we'll be closer, which is where your tools will beat mine, right? Yeah, Paul has Demo Man, and that can be kind of scary. He's not beating Feng at range 0. I don't care what anybody says. I understand. I think Paul's stronger than Feng, kind of, sort of. I don't know. Still debating that. There is literally nothing. Out of 100 games, if we're brawling at range 0, Paul's not gonna beat Feng in that matchup, right? So you want me either super close, or you want me to start dashing in, which I will tell you right now I will not do. I refuse to dash in. Maybe I'll do 4-4-2-1 sometimes. So remember, use the stage positioning to your advantage as well, right? Think about where your placement is, how that's going to affect your advantage, and how your opponent is going to respond as a result. I'm not okay. I don't talk about matchup knowledge that much, right? But there's okay. Let's analyze this. When this hits you, I'm neutral. I don't have any advantage, right? I just put a backturn character into backturn stance, right? At neutral. So any button you press, most of your buttons, will likely outspeed me, right? Because Paul's not very fast when it comes to mids. He's got some sluggish frame data. I don't talk about matchup knowledge that much because this is like, look, you can spend it. I don't have one. I'm not like, you know, Paul I know a little bit of, but I'm not like this crazy expert to give you like, I'm not gonna waste my time doing 2 hours of like, let me break down this character for you and tell you what to do. Some of that you just got to research yourself. In this situation, right, you are neutral, back turned. Experiment with your options in this. I like to do Demo Man right away because most people are holding down back or some shit. They're not ready. The answer to that, you know, is back turn hop kick, immediately doing back turn down. Well, you have down 3, which is the sweep, which won't work. But a generic, like, so back turn down 3+4, right? The generic low kick from back turn, right? That's what most people will like to do. That'll disrupt Demo Man, and I have to force, like, I have to read it and go for hop kick or something. Or holding down back, and then that'll evade the Demo Man and stuff like that. Experiment with your options here. It's not a real Ogi situation. It's just kind of gimmicky, but I like it because nobody online really knows what to do against it. And the few people that do, it just goes to a next layer of mix-up. But yeah, this is just... Don't be too afraid of this. It's not like a crazy real situation. Good block. Should've just done Death Fist. Okay, so let's talk about this, right? Why do you feel... I mean, if I was more used to it, I should have just Death Fisted you. Why the constant... You do this a lot. Like, in your match against Ritosai, right? Heihachi Mishima, right? You do this a lot where, you know, you're somewhere neutral, you're not sure what to do, and then all of a sudden you do forward 4-3. Or you do forward 4 into something, right? Why? The best part about Feng, right, is that he never has to commit, and he constantly makes the opponent second guess their own offense, right? Always, in my opinion, always use options that make sure that you have the least amount of commitment possible, right? The least amount of commitment. So instead of committing to forward 4-3, right, you might not be getting it whiff punished online that much because online's a whole fucking different beast, but you're building up bad habits. If your default is to do a very committal string, whiffing in front of an opponent, where Paul's got a pretty decent whiff punish in Death Fist, if I do say so myself, right? You're risking a lot, right? And you're building up bad habits. Focus more on forward 4, cancel into back turn at ranges where you're safe, and bait the opponent into doing something. If they're not doing anything, then dash block, do it again at ranges where you're safe. Committing to these big strings is just asking to get whiff punished and then deleted, right? That's going to be a running theme throughout here, is I feel like you have these like bad habits of doing these big commitment plays when you don't need to. Now, well, actually, let me see if Frame Data Bot has it. It doesn't have the whiff recovery, so maybe you recover on whiff really quickly, but Feng's not DLC, so he typically doesn't get the whiff recovery bonuses that people on DLC get. I don't know. I'd be hesitant. I wouldn't rely on it, but let's keep going. Yeah, I fuck up. I should have just done Death Fist. Ah. So you do. So okay. So it's over here, right? You do. What is it? Down by 4. You do generic. You do generic down 4. And into wall standing 4, but I feel like you could have done wall standing 1. Again, this is just something you gotta get the reads for. Is like you can tell I'm a very passive player, so I'm not really gonna be challenging. So wall standing 4 is not gonna really do anything, right? I'm gonna respect you a bit. So if you instead do wall standing 1, now you're still in my face at -1, and I have to fight Feng at range 0, which is not a fun battle to fight, right? So I don't think you need to be committing to wall standing 4 as much as you are. Wall standing 1 can also offer some benefits when you realize that the opponent is very passive. That was also, I don't know, I feel like that's an online thing, right? Why are you just dashing up into a throw? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the worst thing. It was pretty fast. I don't know. That's fine. Why the fuck did I duck there? Why did I press there? Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway. Let's go to the next game. Oh my god, I won one. So I don't have to feel awful. It does take a while to load, which is unfortunate. I also don't think I can skip these. It goes by pretty fast. God, my movement's awful. I'm gonna rewatch these and figure out what the fuck I did wrong. How? I gotta look up how minus that is. Nice. That was my fault. So normally I'm like, oh, why are you mashing buttons? But I think that was completely just. So that's the thing, right? When you notice that the opponent is not challenging you when they should and not really doing anything, that they're just kind of passive, throw everything at them, right? Make them freak the fuck out. Make them scared to press buttons. You gotta know when to pump the brakes, but I don't know. I thought you played that round fine. So where does it go wrong? So like right here, I don't know. That's why you immediately go for the throw. What makes you? I mean, it's a part of is a range thing, right? I don't know. Actually, I don't experiment with things back turn that much. I feel like your first option in back turn shouldn't be the throw. I think you should be doing down back, right? Doing the cancel from back turn so that Feng slides backwards, and then look at first what your opponent does, right? You're using a stance that leaves you pretty vulnerable, and I think it's very important to understand, okay, what does my opponent like to do in that stance first, right? What does my opponent like to do in that stance? And then you go ahead and be like, oh, I will do this because I know my opponent likes to do that, etc., etc., etc. Just immediately going for an option before you have a better understanding of like what your opponent's gonna do is kind of risky. It doesn't end up mattering that much. It's not like I'm whiff punishing you here, but that's just my 2 cents on that. That doesn't recover crouching. That's so interesting. Why did I think I should do that? I need to practice that whiff punish. God, the block stun is so short. Okay, so like right here, let's analyze the situation. We're both dancing. I'm fucking terrified because I don't want to approach you, right? This is where you got to start taunting me, right? You got to start baiting me into doing something. I will tell you right now, if I have the life lead, I will not approach you. I just refuse. I've seen too many people throw away their life lead by rushing in at the opponent and trying to pressure them when they don't need to. I literally will count down that timer to 0, right? I have no reason to rush in at you, right? I'm the one with the life lead. I'm winning, right? Me. So, what does that, how are you going to approach? What is your approach method? Your number 1 approach method should and always be dash block, right? Dash block in, close the distance on your opponent, be mindful of stage positioning. So if I start backdashing away, try to do some sidestep left here so that you can start aligning me to the wall, right? Start restricting my options. Or if you think I'm just gonna be like an online monkey or some shit, right? You just start doing Kenpo, right? If you're at range 5, look at the range you're at, right? If you're at this range and you start doing Kenpo in my face, what the fuck am I gonna do? Right? So I think you should experiment with like, how do I force my opponent into action? How do I elicit a response? You know, how do I bait my opponent into doing something I can fuck them up for? That is the most basic thing. Right here, I will tell you right now that I don't really try to rush in unless I'm like confident. So you should be like dash block and then immediately do back Kenpo. Dash block, back Kenpo. Dash block, backdash, something, right? Experiment with your approach options, right? Because if you start doing the whole, I'm going to start pressing a bunch of moves and I start edging closer until I'm confident in my spacing, you will likely die. Right? The dash forward was good, the stop and then into Kenpo, solid, but you don't need to dash as much, right? Just practice dash blocking as much as you can. It is a vital tool. I know we talked about it in the Discord about like, oh, dash blocking is inconsistent online. And I'm in the camp that, yeah, it's inconsistent, right? However, it's still a fundamental tool, right? I think Azan was talking about it, but just like, you still want to keep your same playstyle, right? Look at the online warriors that are now like pretty well-known names, right? Joe Crush, TK Landon, Ty, right? FDX, however you pronounce it, right? The Noctis player. All of those players weren't really known for like crazy tournament placings before COVID, right? They practiced online, practiced as well as they could, and still practiced sound fundamentals, and now you see them doing very well offline. So even though online is dog shit, right? I think you just try to mitigate that by finding players you have good connections with and doing that. But you need to make sure that you still practice fundamentals. You still try to play the solid game, right? I'm not trying to be one of those people that's like, this is the true way to play Tekken. This is the only way to play Tekken. I'm trying to avoid you having bad habits down the line, because once those bad habits develop and you're not aware of them, or they just become ingrained into your subconscious, they're very annoying to break. Trust me, as someone who's had plenty of bad habits and still does, that I'm still trying to break here, right? The goal should be that your baseline default is like solid Tekken play, but the moment you know you can get away with shit, right, just unleash the robbery, unleash the beast, right? There is always a difference between doing a move, doing something gimmicky because that is your default behavior, versus I'm doing something gimmicky because I know my opponent won't punish me for shit, right? Very different worlds, but just something to consider. Jesus Christ. Nice. Oh god. So again, matchup specific. I'm pretty sure Paul falls into the category that you can do the forward 3 into shoulder wall combo on me for a metric fuck ton of damage. Practice it, see if it's viable on Paul. I know you're in Feng Discord, so make sure to ask Feng Discord people, be like, hey, is Paul someone who you can do forward 3 shoulder on? I think they have a list somewhere. But because of the damage buff to shoulder, you have to get that combo where you can. That is so much fucking damage. It's insane, right? Getting the unskilled shoulder. So where you can, if you know it's a matchup where it's like, oh sweet, I don't have to do the usual wall combo, I can just do forward 3 into shoulder and just make my opponent eat a fuck ton of damage, do it. Or, just be me and keep pressing at the fucking wall. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Oh my god. I deserve that. That was a crazy call out. I'll talk about this more in combos and Oki, but experiment with your enders. Don't always commit to the shoulder ender, right? If you're not going to wall carry with down forward 4-3 and you instead just do like, wait, what combo did you do? So you did that. So, that clearly drops. So if you're not going to end with down forward 4-3 for the wall carry, I think you should experiment with down forward 4-2 and stopping there and then doing the shifting clouds Oki, right? I'm pretty sure Rye Shifter has posted plenty of videos on it, so experiment, right? You got to make decisions here, right? Don't commit to the end of that string because obviously you see how it dropped. And I don't think it's a very good string under that much either, right? It's nice at the wall for pancake flips, but the wall carry is just ass, especially with down forward 4-3 as a wall ender, right? That's some pretty good carry that you should experiment with. God, down forward 4-3 is so good. It's crazy. Man, Feng's so good right now. It's crazy. I wish I still played him. I should have launched you. I should have punched you. Nice. See, I agree with that. Just keep doing Kenpo. Maybe dash forward a little bit and then do the Kenpo, right? Force me to elicit a response. And you have the life lead, right? So I have to approach you. So keep doing Kenpo. Doing shifting clouds is kind of, I don't know about that, but it's like fine. I really need to look at how fucking punishable that is. Nice. Yeah, don't fucking. All right, wait. Let me. I'll look it up later. I don't care. Yeah, I thought that was like way more punishable than it is. That's crazy. Nice. I'm not gonna go into detail on that string. The string I did to end the last round, if you have questions on it, let me know. But I'm not gonna go into detail on it. That's just, you gotta lab it out. What the fuck am I doing? Never play at 11 at night. Jesus Christ. Oh no. Wait, was I gonna die? I wasn't gonna die. Not gonna talk about it that much. Gotta have consistent punishment. And I think I don't harp on it too much. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, talk about matchup specific punishes, but stagger blocks are generic, right? If I block sidestep 4 and you block Demo Man, it's the same animation, right? Obviously different character models, but the animation is so similar, right, that you need to make sure that you have the punishment on point. Obviously, like, I think the exception is like Eddie Slippery Kicks, which has a fucked up hurt box because it's fucking Eddie, but you should, you know, you have a clean crouching, full crouch punish for those stagger block lows, right? With full crouch down forward 2. So make sure to punish it, because once you have the stagger block punish down, right, for one low, you'll have it for all of them. Give or take, right? But the stagger block is a universal animation that once you see it, you're like, full crouch down forward 2, or whatever the fucking full crouch launcher is. Oh god, why did I get up? That was fucking ballsy ass play. Ah, I did duck. I should have kept ducking. Unfortunate. What did you press? Oh god, why did I drop? Oh god, why did I press? So let's analyze that last situation. Okay, let's analyze that last situation, right? That's the second or third time that I've done jab into a throw on you, right? And obviously, that's a 2 break, by the way. So just if you practice throw breaks, look at the hands, whatever, that's a 2 break. But that's another thing to consider, is that, like, anytime the opponent takes an action, that's information you can be using, right? And obviously there's a lot of information to be categorizing, but it's just kind of Tekken. There's a lot of shit to keep track of, but as you keep playing more and as you get used to, like, controlling your character, you can focus more on observing what your opponent is doing and then using that information. But, you know, I do a lot of jab into low, jab into basically high into something. So what beats a high, right? Ducking. I'll do a lot of high into another option that gets beaten by ducking. That's just a habit that I have. But you should have been using that information, especially in the clutch rounds, to just kind of be like, I think he's going to go for another high, right? I haven't shown that I'm willing to do the mids yet. So, you know, you just got to pay attention to what your opponent is doing and then adjust accordingly. All right, let's watch how I fucking fumble it. Jesus Christ. 1-3. Oh no, now I remember how I fumbled it. Oh my god, that's gonna haunt me. That's gonna haunt me. I knew I was doing the right call, but I committed to death to something. I'm like, why? It happens. Sayonara. I need to change my tags. I should do that after this. I think here I start getting more aggressive. I don't remember why. I should have whiff punished you, Jesus. Oh my god. Holy shit. God, down by 3 is so fucking scary. Holy shit. Nice. I really don't sidestep at all. Jesus Christ, my movement is so linear. Holy shit. That's fucking crazy. I really need to like not press into that. Oh god, why did I do that? Oh, is that why people do fucking hop kick on wake up? That's fucking crazy. Oh my god, I should have died. Oh, I should have died. Ah, there we go. I could have had it. That's crazy. I should have hop kicked. Yeah, shredders. Okay, yeah, so I think you played that round really well at the very end, especially just kind of like catching on me fumbling and then smelling the blood on the water. No issues there. I guess I'll play it again. That's pretty fast. I don't think I have anything to critique, really. I guess I do. Okay, so throughout this round, right? Look at how many like actual pokes that you use, right? You use a lot of down 2 at the start, but then there's no jabs. There's only one down forward 1 in maybe like this entire situation, and then you use like down back 3 a lot, right? Which is fine. Down back 3 is an arguable poke, yes, but it's honestly more of like a power low, right? Do you really want to be poking with something that's launch punishable on block, right? It's hard to really justify that when you go, all right, let me use my move that if the opponent blocks it, this quote unquote poke, I get launched, right? It's very hard to kind of justify that. And I think that's the biggest issue here, is that like you see here, I counter hit you out of down back 2-2. Somehow you do the a tilde 3, a tilde 4, all that stuff, right? You're using a lot of big moves. There's like your first down 4, sure, but you weren't using down 4 until it was ready to kill. When, if you think about it, right, like down 4 tracks really well, is really annoying, leaves you pretty good to like still move around on hit, right? And it's like, okay, so this low that you could be using a lot for conditioning that's very fast and nowhere near as committal as down back 3, you're just not using. And I feel like that's the biggest issue we're having here, is that you have a lot of big Tekken, yes, but your small Tekken is very lacking. Now, why do we keep stressing small Tekken, right? When Tekken 7 is kind of like the, haha, I'm going to press my counter hit launcher now game, right? Technically, it's really not. Like at a high level, poking is still very important, right? In the long run, right, consistently, the players who are good at poking will do better, right? But the thing you have to consider, again, is like, it all flows together. By taking less risk on yourself, by focusing more on these small moves, yes, your reward isn't as high, but you're not taking as much risk on yourself, and you're still getting chip damage, which means you have less combos that you need to do to kill, and more importantly, you can condition the opponent's responses. If you keep poking with a lot of jabs, I will duck eventually, right? Or I'll do something risky to try and be like, stop fucking pressing jabs on me. And when you get the feel of like when I'm gonna try and counter all those jabs, you can do a mid, you can just hold back and punish whatever I do, right? There's a lot of things you can be doing. But if you keep using like these big callouts, like these, I'm just gonna keep pressing my big Tekken buttons, you're eventually just going to overextend and then eat a shitload of damage you wouldn't have to if you just played a bit more compact, right? You don't need to, maybe if your playstyle is really party oriented, like you're just a wild player and that's just how you feel comfortable, and more importantly, that's what keeps it fun for you, more power to you, right? I'm not saying you have to do these things, I'm just saying try to figure out what you can do to bolster your party, right? We can't party all the time, right? Eventually it's got to wind down and slow down for a bit before you can party again. So how are you best going to do that? What are your options that are going to make your party tools more viable? There's a basic example, right? If you do a lot of sidestep 2, right, and the opponent starts ducking, what do? Sidestep 1+2, right? And it's the same idea here. If you use a lot of down back 3, what are you going to do to your opponent that can make them more scared or more likely to be vulnerable to down back 3, right? You can do a lot more down 2, which is a bit more chunky damage. Yeah, it doesn't have the counter hit property, right? It doesn't have as crazy counter hit property as down back 3, but it's like, well, I don't take as much risk and I can still get I can squeeze a bit more damage from my pokes that way, right? And at the very least, you still have somewhat of a counter hit property to use, right? Or you can do down 4 and make the opponent just, if I'm just standing still and you don't want to take a huge risk by committing to down back 3, you just press down 4, right? Just keep pressing down 4. And then it's all about making sure that your stronger core tools are more viable, right? Think about it like this. If you like to use mids, how do you make your mids stronger? By doing a lot of lows or even highs, right? By making your opponent want to duck. So that way your mids can come in and go, haha, you're ducking, get fucked, right? So it's that ebb and flow, and vice versa. If you want to do a lot of, if you want to use a lot of lows or highs, you do a bunch of mids, and then your opponent's like, well, fuck, he's doing a bunch of mids, I gotta block these, right? And then you can go, haha, you're stand blocking, I have lows, throws, highs, etc., etc., etc. Right? So I think you need to start incorporating moves into your playstyle to figure out how that ebb and flow is going to work out. There's not really much else here. Ah, man, that's scary. I completely was not expecting that at all. I didn't even see the side step. That's crazy. Yeah, I also shouldn't have like let you just roll dash into my face like that. Nice. Holy shit. I had the whiff punish and then I fucked it up. Crazy. Anyway. Neutral, punishment / matchup knowledge, combo / Oki, personal opinion stuff. Neutral. I think your neutral is at a solid start, right? Like you're not doing anything too crazy. I think you did. I think when you were facing Ritosai and you kind of felt out of your element, you did a lot of like forward 3-4 and stuff. Don't do that, right? Again, neutral should be as compact as possible and focusing on minimizing risks to yourself. And then once you feel comfortable, once you have information on your opponent's habits, then let it rip, right? Then do all your wild shit, do all your stuff that your opponent is weak to. But it shouldn't be your default. Your default shouldn't be, let me do all my big Tekken stuff. Your default should be, let me focus on small Tekken, and then as I get more knowledge on my opponent, right, then unleash the big Tekken. Or if you're gonna unleash the big Tekken, like you just want to focus on pressing big buttons, right, more power to you, but then you have to also factor in like timing, right? Like you can't just always be pressing buttons because the opponent will be ready with punishes and will be ready to disrupt you. So you need to understand like, okay, when can I really press my buttons? When is a good time to actually press buttons, right? Other aspects of neutral. Your approach, you really need to reconsider your approach, right? Dash blocking, dash block, dash block, dash block. There are so many flexible options you can be doing for approach and baiting whips, right? Dash blocking, dash block into 4-4 into down back, dash blocking into Kenpo, dash blocking into backdash into Kenpo. And every single dash block you do is information that you can gain on your opponent, right? Like, hey, what does my opponent do if I dash in their face 2 to 3 times, right? What does my opponent do if I dash forward and then do Kenpo, right? All of this is information you can be using to adjust your game plan to focus on how to better get these big rewards, right? Other aspects of neutral. Nothing else. Oh, small Tekken. You gotta start using jabs and pokes and down forward 1, right? Really gotta start using those. Because that's how you make like your scary moves like fish hook really viable, right? You do a lot of down forward 1, the opponent's like, I don't want to deal with down forward 1, so I'm going to sidestep, and then you do fish hook, and you're like, well, get fucked. Right? So that's also something to consider of like, what are the small Tekken tools you can use to bolster your gameplay style, right? To bolster your game plan. Other options to consider for neutral. I think those are the big ones, is like your approach is just kind of like all over the place and you're just taking on more risk and commitment than you need to. Punishment / matchup knowledge. Punishment, there's not really, I wasn't really doing any Paul gimmicks. Except for like, I did like 3-2 once or twice, and you should always duck that. Paul has a lot of mid-high strings and high strings that have no mid follow-up, and they do not jail, right? You shouldn't be afraid of anything. If I do back 1, if I do wall standing 3, if I do standing 3, you duck immediately, and if I commit, you should fuck me up, right? That should be what is happening. Anything else, you can ask questions, just, at me on the Discord and be like, hey, what is this Paul gimmick and what do I do? But for the most part, you just gotta be aware of your punishes and start lapping stuff out. As far as character stuff goes, right? As far as the matchup goes. We can talk about the matchup more once you've ironed out some things. I don't think you need to worry about the matchup at the moment right now. I think you need to focus more on developing your core tools of like approaching and then using small Tekken tools like jab, down 4, etc., etc., etc. Character or player knowledge, right? Excuse me. I talked about it before, but just kind of like pay attention to what type of opponent you're facing. What do they like to do? More importantly, what do they not like to do? If the opponent isn't ducking, then you use your throws, your highs, your lows. If the opponent is ducking, right? Or they're not stand blocking, use your mids, right? Super basic, just G Willikers, Batman, what is this opponent? Why do they not do X? Well, it's like, well, I don't have a reason to do X yet, so that means you should give me a reason to, right? That constant ebb and flow that you have to be on the lookout for. Combo / Oki. I thought your combos were fine. Nothing I have to really talk about. I already mentioned, like, figure out your if Feng is your main. I don't think we've played before. So if Feng is your main, right? Figure out the matchup specific stuff like forward 4-3 in the shoulder, because it is so much fucking damage. It's insane, right? I legit think it's a lot. It's actually a huge increase in damage these days because of the shoulder buffs. Other aspects of Oki. You gotta know when to pump the brakes. You gotta remember like when to backdash, so that way you can whiff punish me for committing to all these get up kicks and stuff, right? So sometimes it's gonna be I'm gonna press buttons on your wake up, and other times it's gonna be I'm gonna backdash and then whiff punish you on wake up, right? No easier forward 3-4 is probably one of the best get up kick punishers in the fucking game, right? You just backdash once, the get up kick whiffs, and there is literally no way, like once you see the get up kick whiff, you'll just press forward 3-4 and I'm gonna die, right? Because you travel so far forward and you get the launcher, right? There's very, very little that I can do. If I like to get up kick a lot, I should be dying for that, right? So yeah, just Oki, it goes back into sometimes you just gotta know when to like hang back a little bit and then adjust your Oki. Because it's not always going to be, let me press 4-3. It's not always going to be, let me press down back 2-2. Sometimes it's just going to be, I'm going to backdash here and then whiff punish you, and then you will die. Other aspects of combos. I talked about it before, right? If you're going to commit to the shifting clouds, or if you're going to commit to the down forward 3 into mid string, just go for the shifting clouds, Oki. I don't know. I don't think that shoulder ender is very reliable. It's very weird. And if you're gonna go for a wall carry, go all the way for the wall carry, right? Just do down forward 4-3, right? Personal opinion stuff, options that I think are neat, but your mileage may vary. Forward 4-3 is a fucking busted ass move. It is so fucking good. It is so good, right? Especially against an opponent. Like, how often did I really sidestep throughout that match? Like, at all, right? If the opponent isn't sidestepping, what do you want to do? Do you want to do anything? or do you want to do your plus on block mid counter hit launcher that's also super plus on hit, that has a, you know, it does everything, right? The only option I have is really sidestepping it. If I try and challenge it and I fuck up my timing, or heaven forbid I fuck up my spacing, I'm gonna die, right? I will literally die. So if the opponent is passive and literally not sidestepping, use your tools. And that applies for a lot of things, right? If you see the opponent not doing something that is a common answer to a tool that is useful to you, you start using that tool until they start doing the answer to it, right? Other things I like. Has it been forever since I played Feng? Wall standing 1. How could I forget? Instant wall standing 1 is one of the most important tools for Feng, right? Incredible approach tool, incredible. You basically have a long range down forward 1 that leaves you -1 in front of the opponent, and just you're in range. There is your approach, right? Is it weak to sidestep left like everything else Feng has? Yes. But the idea is that like the opponent's going to be so busy looking for down back 3, looking for down forward 3-4 and all this other stuff, they're not going to be as ready for instant wall standing 1. So use that a bit more. Other options that I think are neat. Your default seems to, I mean, I pressed into it, so like I died, so it worked out. But your default seems to be, all right, I see anything happen, I'm gonna press shoulder at the wall. I think we'll play a bit more whenever you're free, and then we'll talk about that. But I feel like that's a, I'm not sure if you're doing that because you have a good read on my habits, which is very likely, or if that's your default. If shoulder at the wall is your default, I feel like you are... Wait, Ndeko's encrypt? God damn it, Ndeko. Anyway, I feel like you are, again, putting on way too much risk at yourself. If the opponent's not sidestepping or backdashing or whatever, just do forward 3, right? Or do down forward 2-2 or something, right? Don't default to shoulder as your mid of choice at the wall, right? It's a bad habit. Anyway, I talked a lot. I rambled a lot. And I have no idea, well, it's not like I'm talking with you, right? I'm just kind of talking to myself here. I have no idea if any of this made any sense, right? So, let me know, right? Hey, I have questions about this. Hey, this point you said got me killed. Hey, none of this made any fucking sense. Whatever, right? I'm open to feedback. I want to have this dialogue. I want to know, like, the ebb and flow of this conversation. Where is it going to go? Blah, 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 right? Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, I'm usually in collegiate posting in the art channel. Right, posting waifus and shit. Or I'm shit posting, or I'm playing Tekken. I'm doing something, right? Any questions you have, feel free to ask. I know you're in the... I feel like I've seen you in the Feng Cord, right? Feng Discord people are super solid, right? Everybody's super helpful and usually really nice, right? Any questions you got, just fire away, right? Anyway. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Stay safe. Have a good one.